Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, I had a voice radio. So today, we are looking at a new Magearna card, which is going to be coming out in the not-too-distant future. Now, this was leaked on Facebook earlier, and the translation comes from a chap called Andrew Vu, which seems about right, to be perfectly honest to you. So, new Magearna, ladies and gentlemen, it could be kind of funky. Now, it is a metal Pokemon, which means we're going to be thinking, ooh, can it take down Gardevoir? Answer coming in a moment. You're hitting for weakness against Gardevoir and against Alolan Vulpix, which is nice, and, you know, Alolan Ninetales. You are weak to fire, which is a little bit rubbish with the whole Volcanion thing, and Power Heater from non-EX Volcanion, Baby Volcanion if you will be a bit of a pain for this particular one. Resistance to Psychic is good, given that Garbodor is everywhere at the moment. Retreat cost of 1 is really handy, because as we're going to see, this is more of a bench sitter. So being able to get it out of the active nice and easy is going to be a huge advantage. 90 HP, going to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, little bit rubbish, but you can't have it all. And as a side note, kind of cool action-packed artwork here. So, the main selling point really here is the ability. The ability says that once per turn you may take a Pokemon tool from one of your Pokemon. And then of course the reason you would do this is so that you could then reattach that tool to a different one of your Pokemon. And like so many of these abilities, it might sound familiar, and that's probably for a pretty good reason. It is the ability of Magearna, although not exactly. Because you see, what was so wonderfully, brilliantly, awesomely, amazingly great about Magearna's tool reversal was, it was as often as you like during your turn. So you could just be mixing your tools around whenever you feel like it. Magearna is very much once per turn. Having said that, it is still better than Genesect EX, by which I mean, of course, the Metal Genesect EX, because the Metal Genesect EX was only from Genesect into your hand, whereas this allows you to take it from any of your Pokemon. So, we're somewhere between Genesect and Magearna here, and this is a decent ability, because we often find ourselves with the wrong tool for a given moment, even though we may well have had to attach that tool earlier. Or we find ourselves with a Professor Sycamore, so we end up just attaching a tool because I don't want to get rid of it using Sycamore. And one awesome thing that this does is it means that you can just stash a tool on a random Pokemon before playing Sycamore, and then you can use Magearna to then take that tool later on in the game and put it where you would actually like it. So that's pretty handy. Although one thing that we do need to bear in mind whenever we're talking about tools is Field Blower. No matter what plans you've got, ladies and gentlemen, no matter what tools you've got, no matter where you put those tools, Field Blower will come along much more often than you would like. Get rid of those tools and you will be a sad panda. Now, there are many things you can do with this, and I don't purport in this video to give you every single use, but I've got a few particular ones that I've picked out for you. First of all, Mega Pokemon. Now, I know Megas aren't huge at the moment, they're not that relevant, but you've still got to bear them in mind. Let's take something like Mega Scizor, which some people, myself included, have suggested could be used because of the whole Gardevoir thing at the moment. So what you could do here is use Spirit Link to evolve Mega Scizor without having to end your turn. Spirit Links are very useful in that way. But then later in the game you could switch it for a Choice Band, a Float Stone, etc., which would be incredibly handy. And of course, we've got Silvally coming up. Now, Silvally is kind of useful. I've talked about Silvally a lot. I did a video about Silvally. I'll pop a link in the description. But essentially, it does 120 for free energy, and you get to attach a basic energy from your discard pile to one of your benched Pokemon. Sounds good. But being a colourless Pokemon means you're not hitting anything for weakness. Well, we've also been told we're getting these memory cards for Silvally, which will make Silvally another type, which is fitting with how Silvally works in the video game, meaning you now can hit for weakness. And we've had it confirmed that we're going to be getting both fighting and psychic memory cards, but we haven't had it confirmed that you're getting any other types. But of course, Magearna here helps absolutely brilliantly. Up against a Drampa, That's okay. Put your fighting memory on, KO that Drampa. Oh no, wait! Now your opponent's brought up an Espeon, and in Garbodor lists you may well find that Espeon and Drampa are both played, like for instance in the Tordoreklev list I did a video about, link to that in the description, so you can use Magearna to take off the fighting memory card, replace it with a psychic memory card, and then get the one-hit KO on Espeon. And certainly several people have pointed this out. This isn't the fastest video I've ever done because, might I remind you, I'm currently in Spain. Today, along with several other very talented people, I casted the Bilbao Special Championships, and we got top 8 tomorrow, Pokemon.com/live. So I've seen a few opinions about this already, and several people have said, you know what? Silvally works here, and it really does. Because what you could do here is even just get rid of a power memory to chuck on a choice band just to get a KO on something, like, I don't know, maybe a Marshadow, because Marshadow hits Silvally for weakness, but with a choice band you'll be hitting Marshadow for 150 and getting a KO. Although one other opinion I've heard a few people mention in error here, you can't use this to take, for instance, a choice band off Garbodor and put a float stone on, because once a choice band's on Garbodor, Magearna doesn't have an ability. There we go. Although one of the main uses for Magearna here is going to be allowing you to switch between Floatstone and Choice Band. They are the two most adaptive tools we've got, the two tools that are played in the most decks. Floatstone gives free retreat, Choice Band means you do 30 more 2EXs or GXs, and Golisopod's a great example of this. You want the Choice Band to be doing extra damage, but then First Impression on Golisopod does more damage if you became active this turn, so you go active and hit 150 with First Impression, but then you want to retreat to put a new Golisopod active. Magearna will allow you to switch these over, which is pretty nice, to be perfectly honest with you. Now there is an attack here, and we're not going to spend too long on it. It's not the real selling point of Magearna. It's 60 for free energy. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't get to say this very often, so let's savour it while we can. Let's really enjoy the moment. It's worse than Charizard GX. No, it is on a basic, not a stage 2. You can use double colourless here, which is really nice, but the fact that you need a metal energy on it means you're only really going to be teching it into decks like, for instance, Metagross, which is already going to be hitting Gardevoir for weakness, which is what you really want to do with a metal Pokemon. Now, to be fair, 60 damage will get a KO on Pokemon like, for instance, Rowlet, or Routes, although you're hitting Routes for weakness, so it'll really KO Routes. But here's the thing. It's just, why would you have free energy on a Magearna to take a KO on an evolving basic? That really doesn't seem like the cleverest thing to do. Can it KO a Gardevoir with weakness? Well, yes, it can, but you'll need a choice band to put it up to 90, then you'll need free Dalmise to put it up to 120, and the fact that I am mentioning Dalmise 8 minutes into this video should tell you Dalmise is not really that relevant for Magearna here. What it does do in a deck like Golisopod, where you're playing Rainbow Energy anyway, it does give you a metal type attacker, but to be honest, if you really want that, you could just use Magearna EX, which would get a one-hit KO on Gardevoir straight off, and has got the really useful ability, which would stop something like a Drampa getting rid of your special energy. It stops effects of attacks other than damage, so something like Drampa getting rid of your special energy. So I can't really recommend Magearna as an attacker, but it's not an attacker. I said it early on, I'll repeat it now happily. This is a bench sitter. You put Magearna on your bench so that you can move these tools around, and in some decks, this is absolutely wonderful. Let's say you're playing an expanded. It means that you can swap a muscle band for a choice band, so when you're against an EX or a GX, you're doing an extra 30 damage, but against a non-EX, non-GX, you switch it for a muscle band, and then you do an extra 20 damage. It's not as good as Masquerain, but it's also one card in your deck that you don't have to evolve. It's a basic. The typing is decent, although fairly irrelevant, and it's got a retreat cost of 1. And when you've got a really useful ability on a basic with a retreat cost of 1, that's between 3 and 4 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies, that would be barbaric. It's not the best card ever, but it's a useful tech in some decks, and the low retreat cost and basic Pokemon-ness mean it's good as a tech. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, I want to know what you think, so let me know in the comments. Go nuts, be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassie, and Twitch at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. That's where the live action happens. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, etc., you can do so at patreon.com/PTCG Radio. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.